This story begins with a little soul who came onto the stage with only a dream, standing under bright lights, but with shadows tightening around her heart. She did not know that before the applause could even start, decisions had already been made about her because of her color. Whispers, hateful looks, and that silent suffocation kept trying to weaken her with every breath. But this is not just about one girl. It is the silent scream of a system that has again and again decided whose voice matters and whose does not. What was about to happen in that moment would change not only the stage, but the way people think. The question is, can a true voice defeat the noise of hate? This is the moment that will force you to watch. She had always been a quiet little girl, the kind whose smile could light up any corner of a home, and whose voice was soft like the wind coming through a window, yet deep enough to touch the heart. There wasn't wealth in her house, but there was a lot of hope. After coming back from school, she often listened to an old radio and matched her voice with it, as if she needed to prove to the world that dreams don't see color. Her mother was proud of her, but with every bit of pride there was also a slight fear, because she knew the outside world was not so kind.
When a big competition was announced in the city, the same shine appeared in the girl's eyes, a shine no one could put out. The stage, the lights, the microphone, everything felt like a dream to her. She prepared with her whole heart, holding every note with hope, as if every melody was defending her identity. But as the day of the competition came closer, the atmosphere began to change. People noticed her dark skin first, and her talent later. There were whispers, changing looks, and inside her a strange fear slowly began to grow. Then the day finally came, when she stood behind the stage curtain. Her hands were slightly shaking, but her heart was still strong. In front of her stood a world that would either break her or be forced to bow before her voice. She did not yet know that in just a few moments, not only her courage would be tested, but she would also face a truth she could no longer ignore. What was about to happen was not just a performance, it was a battle, silent but very deep. When the curtain lifts, a sea of light spreads in front of her, but along with it comes that silent pressure that weighs on every corner of her mind. She walks to the center of the stage, but instead of applause, a strange, cold silence fills the hall. Some people look at each other and quietly laugh, as if the decision has already been made, that this is only an attempt, not the beginning of anything worth remembering. In the eyes of the judges sitting in front of her, there is the same old harshness, the same invisible wall, as if her identity itself is a case against her. A moment passes, then another. One of the judges leans back in his chair and looks at her from head to toe, as if questioning not her talent but her skin color. Another judge slowly writes something on a note. She hasn't even started singing yet, and still it feels like the result has already been decided somewhere. The whispers from the participants standing behind her pierce her ears like arrows. Someone wonders, how did she even get this far? And someone else simply treats her existence as an unnecessary surprise. She takes a deep breath. She moves closer to the microphone. But before she can even raise her voice, a vague kind of criticism begins. Not about her voice, not about her style, but about her mere existence. Words that sound soft on the outside but cut deeply inside. Attitudes that are called advice, but actually exist only to break courage. Fear enters her heart for a moment, but she tries to push it down. She knows that if she steps back today, it won't just be her defeat. It will be the defeat of every child who is considered less just because of their skin color. Time begins to slow down. The stage isn't small, but she feels as if the whole world has shrunk and become trapped in this single moment. From the outside, it all looks ordinary. A girl standing, a competition happening, a performance about to begin. But inside, a storm is raging. Her heart is beating fast, yet somewhere inside a stubborn strength is waking up. A voice inside her says that this moment is not just a stage performance, it is a declaration. It is proof that respect, talent, and voice cannot be measured by color. Among the audience, some faces are full of sympathy, some are just spectators, and some actually want her to fail, only because she doesn't fit into the standards created by centuries of injustice. The atmosphere becomes heavier. For a moment, she feels as if the stage is shaking beneath her feet. But then, From somewhere in the back of her mind, the words of her mother echo. When you stand as the truth, the lies of the world begin to weaken on their own. Now all eyes are on her. The harsh gaze of the judges, the impatience of the audience, the silent heartbeat of the atmosphere. Everything gathers at one single point. The next moment will decide. Either this silence will break her, or she will break this silence with her voice. And then, she comes so close to the mic that even the trembling of her breath can be heard. In the very next moment, something is about to happen that will leave this stage changed forever. That moment finally arrived. The same moment everyone had silently decided would break this girl under its weight. But as soon as she starts singing, the atmosphere in the room begins to change. With her very first breath, her voice echoes through the hall like someone suddenly opened a closed window. Soft but strong, trembling yet unbroken. Her voice wasn't just a song. It was the sound of years of hidden pain, injustice, and patience. The audience, who just moments earlier were sitting carelessly, now begin to sit up straight. Some faces even show lines of shame, as if they are afraid to recognize themselves. But the judges, they are still sitting like stone. The strictness on one judge's face grows even stronger, as if he refuses to accept what he is hearing. The other judge's pen stops moving. They look at her, but they don't want to admit the truth. Somewhere inside, the walls of prejudice are breaking, but they try to hide their stubbornness under the falling pieces. With every note she sings, the struggle on their faces becomes clearer. This was no longer just art. It was a direct confrontation with the painful question they had always avoided. Will they reject the truth only because it came from a dark-skinned girl? As her voice rises higher, a strange, powerful silence fills the air. People listen with held breath, deeply emotional. Some eyes fill with tears. The small girl standing on the stage no longer looks small. She stands with such strength as if an entire generation stands behind her. Every note is a protest. Every breath is resistance. And every word declares that she will not just endure, she will write her own story. Then comes the final part. The high, powerful, heart-piercing moment when her voice rises strongly to the sky. It feels like she is challenging the world. If you thought I was less, then listen now. This is me. This is my truth, and you cannot bury it under your prejudice. For a moment, it feels as if time has stopped, as if the whole universe has gone silent just to listen to this one voice. The song ends. The voice stops. But a heavy, echoing silence fills the hall. No one claps, at least not yet. It's as if everyone is holding their breath. This is the moment when the decision will be made. Either prejudice will win, or truth. The question is, who will bow first? The world, or the wall that has stood for so long? The silence spread across the hall took a few moments to break. It was as if everyone was fighting a battle inside themselves, some hearts heavy with shame, some struggling to face a painful truth, and some surprised at how someone they thought was less could stand so high. Then suddenly, light clapping starts from somewhere. First one, then another, and soon the entire hall stands up. The same people who were whispering against her earlier were now standing with tears in their eyes. These claps were not just for a performance. They were a late recognition, a small but powerful rebellion against long-standing injustice. The hardness on the judges' faces slowly begins to melt. Now they are standing in front of the truth, beyond words. One of them finally admits it. Not just her beautiful voice, but the truth her voice revealed. In that moment, she doesn't just win a performance, she wins respect. The kind of respect that is often unfairly measured by skin color. Inside her, a quiet smile appears, not of pride, not of revenge, but of faith that truth finds its own voice. But the story doesn't end here. When she returns home, the city is not magically changed. Prejudice doesn't disappear with applause. Injustice doesn't end with one victory. But now, she has a new strength inside her. After that day, she is no longer just a girl. She becomes a symbol. A reminder that silence can be broken, that the children who were considered less don't just endure. They fight, and they can win. And maybe this is the real weight of the story. This is not just a story of one performance. It is the story of a system that still looks at identity before talent. Those small moments, when someone's ability is ignored, when someone's hard work is seen through the lens of color. These are the wounds that hurt an entire society. But in the same society, there are also people who stand up, who listen, who think, and who change. In the end, the same question remains: will we just clap and stay silent? Or will we truly listen, understand, and try to change the system that forces someone's dreams to die early? Because maybe the real victory did not happen on the stage. The real victory will be the day when the next girl won't have to prove she is worthy, just because her skin is different.